Thank you for downloading the Wado Radio Podcast. If you love what you're hearing, leave a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps expose others to the show. Thank you, and God bless.
This podcast is brought to you by Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about our affiliate, Covenant Eyes.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all.
Yes, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado Radio Show. It's more than music. It's ministry. And, man, we have a familiar voice on the phone with us, man. He's down in Houston. And obviously, or thankfully, I should say, he wasn't totally directly affected by everything going on. But, of course, his city is, man. And this dude puts on for Houston like no other, man. Sketch the journalist is with us, man. Sketch, what's up, bro?
Hey, good, man. Good to be back on the show and touch base with everybody. It's been good to have a little time off, but I appreciate you having me back on, especially things going on like this. I'm happy to kind of contribute my voice and perspective about what's been going on. And like you said, I have been blessed. I live in Cut and Shoe, Texas, as you guys know, which is about a little hour north of Houston. So I was actually spared a lot of the main damage. We didn't have high winds, but certainly a whole lot of rain. It flooded the ponds in the back of my property, which I expected, and got fairly close to the house, closer than we've ever seen before.
Sheesh.
I've got a minor roof leak, but that seems nothing in comparison to what other folks are going through.
Yeah.
I guess the funny part of my experience, though, was contacting my next door neighbor, who told me that he had to move his goats to his back porch because their pasture was flooded. So if you guys wonder if I really live in the country, I do really live in the country.
Yeah, somebody got to move their goats. Yeah. Oh, man, that's hilarious, man. I know you had put on Twitter earlier that you thought your mother was going to have to be evacuated. And, you know, she was able to stay, man. But just, you know, man, some of your family and close friends, man, how are some of those folks doing?
Yeah, parents are still good. They still have water in their street that they're a little nervous about, but their home has remained dry. They've remained with electricity. One of my main concerns when I tweeted that was just trying to drive on the roads. There are so many roads that have been impacted or closed. Yeah. You know, even if you try to evacuate, you don't really know where to go or where you can go. So that was kind of my concern, but they stayed there. I've tried to check on a lot of different people within the Houston Christian hip hop scene that I've known, people within my home church group. A couple of those folks lost electricity, but nothing too bad. I do know several people that did have their cars wiped out, or homes, or you know, apartments, that sort of thing. So one thing that I met with my church small group last night, and we were praying through and talking about everybody that we knew. A good point that was brought up to me was like, hey, keep a list of those people that you know were like severely impacted. So many people were impacted to varying degrees, but you can kind of lose track of that stuff. So I'm keeping a list that will help me, remind me to, one, pray for those people, and then two, to follow up with them. This is going to be a long recovery process, and I want to make sure that I kind of touch base with them regularly to see what they need. Sometimes it's even hard right now, immediately after the storm. Everybody wants to help, but some of those people don't even know what to ask for or what they really need, because they're still in the shelter. They have no idea what part of it, you know, what their house looks like, what their car looks like, that sort of thing. But in a week and in the next week, that they're going to have a better picture of what that is and communicate to you and to their kind of support staff, the type of things that they're looking for and could really use your help. But that's kind of my recommendation for anybody listening. If you contacted people, keep those people in a list on your phone, write them on your notepad or whatever, that you can continue to pray for them, but also to follow up with them.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I've heard that there's been a lot of churches who've been really active and involved in some of the relief efforts. You know, obviously, I know you tweeted that your church was opening up, and of course, we've all heard about what was been going on with Joel Osteen and Lakewood, man. But you know, what else has kind of been going on in that community as far as some of the relief efforts?
Yeah, one of the first things that you saw, and you know, I always got to brag about Houston, but just how diverse the city is, but how those kind of differences really didn't matter in this type of emergency. You saw people from all different faiths and races and walks of life helping each other. It was neighbor helping neighbor. Yeah. And then kind of on a more organized level, you've seen faith communities step up and offer their resources. My church, like you said, was a shelter. We actually got flooded at one point and had to close that down and then open it back up. But I visited with my pastor yesterday. He said we don't have as many people needing shelter there, but they're mobilizing our volunteers to go out and help with rescue efforts and redistribute some of the supplies that we've taken on. A lot of people have taken those on. So that's really been a blessing to see how many churches have stepped up. And in a time where sometimes Christianity is looked at with a side eye from mainstream society, this is a time where I think we can really shine and show that we're here to love our neighbor and help out how we can. So, and speaking of Lakewood and Osteen, I know we had talked, you called me a couple of days ago to touch base on that me, and we had mentioned that. I don't really follow, I don't listen to a lot of Joel Osteen stuff. I have not been to his church, so can't really comment on that. But I will say, like the news reports that I saw, so what we're talking about is there was some controversy about whether or not Lakewood Church was open or not open for shelter. Were they too late to do that? Were they really flooded, not flooded? But my takeaway was when I was watching the news and talking to people who were being rescued, when they're stepping out of the water or a boat and they're dripping wet, I don't think they really want to have a conversation about who's not helping. Yeah. They want to know who is. Yeah. So that's kind of been my focus, is to try to promote and communicate people who are helping my church, other churches in the area, other, just social centers, other mosques, and that sort of thing, people of other faiths, wherever people can find shelter. That's a bigger topic of concern than whether one church did or didn't do. That's kind of, I think, far from their mind at that point.
Absolutely, man. That's good, bro. Do you I know you know the city like very well. And obviously, no one's in a position probably unless you got a helicopter to really go all around and all over the city, man. But just to give people some perspective on some of this, man, just from your estimation, obviously it's not going to be it's not going to be definite, but like what portion of the city, like if you had to estimate a percentage, do you think is flooded and like heavily impacted, needing to evacuate and that kind of stuff? And I'm asking because when we look at this footage, man, and I've never been to Houston before, that, like this looks immensely devastating. And we had Hurricane Sandy up here in New York. Yeah. I was living in D.C. when 9/11 happened and the whole Pentagon thing. So like I've seen some things. I've seen 20 inches of snow, probably 3 or 4 different winters, and the impact of that. But I mean, seeing that, man, it just looks completely devastating, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely been impactful. I guess it was 2 days ago, we were watching traffic reports, and they said 95% of the roads were like closed. So
95% in a city that big, because Houston has 4 million people, 3 million people, something like that. Yeah,
so it definitely shut us down. That was probably Monday or Tuesday. My days kind of run together as you kind of are involved in this stuff. But yeah, it's impacted probably 90% or more. And like you said, Houston is very spread out. So there are people all over that are kind of attached to what we do. But it's not just Houston too. I will say that too. The entire kind of Gulf Coast has really been impacted from Beaumont to Baytown. It's kind of moving east a little bit now towards Louisiana and that kind of thing. So the largest city kind of in that area, so it gets a lot of attention. But there are smaller cities up and down the coast that are also kind of reeling with this, and maybe not even getting the same attention because they came later or they're smaller and that sort of thing. So as you guys pray, think of all of the folks here on kind of the Gulf Coast who may be impacted. And it's a massive one from what I'm seeing on the news reports and that sort of thing, bigger than Katrina, its impact. Katrina had a couple different issues, obviously, with Superdome shelter and trying to evacuate and dams and that sort of thing. But just the sheer amount of like the storm itself was a Category 4. Trillions of gallons of water were kind of dumped on here. And I guess that's the thing that I've experienced that's different than past hurricanes is this thing seemed to just come, sit over Houston and just stay here for a couple of days versus kind of like coming in as part of their path, up north across the state. So
yeah, that's me and my wife were talking about that. It seems like it was like you almost expect a lot of times when these hurricanes hit, they hit and then they just kind of once they hit land, particularly mainland like that, they just kind of fizzle out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they fizzle out. It just seems like this mug is just lingering, bro.
Yeah, it's an uninvited guest in our city, and we usually are pretty hospitable, but we're ready to see Harvey move on.
Sure, absolutely, man. If I don't know if there's any information. I know Trey 9 and some of the stuff that he's been doing with Hip Hope. A lot of those areas are decimated, and he's raising money, and we're going to give some information about that later on in the show, man. But if there's any other information or takeaways that you want to give people a chance to kind of tap into or be aware of.
Yeah, I would say if you're kind of looking from the Christian hip hop community, definitely check out Eyes on Me, which is Trey 9's nonprofit that he uses for his hip hop hope events. He's got Christian hip hop based events in 5 or 6 different areas of the city, and some of them.
And these are horrible areas of the city. Like this ain't he ain't in this is you know what I mean. Like he's in the hood doing this work.
Absolutely. So a lot of those folks are low income. Maybe only have one vehicle, stay in an apartment. Maybe don't have renter's insurance or flood insurance. So that's a good one. I know you're talking to Chris Chicago too, and he had to be rescued by the Coast Guard actually where he was at.
Yeah.
And I saw his sister-in-law, I think, set up a U-carrying site. DJ Overflow is another DJ in the city. He had posted some pictures on Instagram about the flooding and damage that he had in his home. So I would say if you are aware of a Christian hip hop artist or connection within the city, you can reach out to them if they're open on social media. They may have some direct resources or can point you to their church or U-carrying type site that's been set up to help them directly. That's probably the best way aside from some of the larger charities. I guess JJ Watt from the Houston Texans has done a great deal of work. I think he's up to $10 million now in raising funds for his charity and what he's going to do. He started out with a $200,000 goal, and it's just kept going and going. Ellen gave a bunch of money. Chris Paul gave a bunch of money. He's kind of just a central figure for Houston, so he's been able to use his celebrity for really good and doing a lot of that.
Amazing, man. Sketch, love you, brother, and you know you can always come on the Wado Radio Show, brother. You know that.
Absolutely.
So,
I thank you, man.
Yeah, we're not gonna wait till the next hurricane hit Houston, man. Hopefully this is it. You know what I mean? So love you, bro.
Well, absolutely. Thank you, and thank you all your listeners for praying for us down here in Houston.
Absolutely.
Miss one episode, you miss a lot.
I had a chance to sit down with my brother Jay Monty live at Ja Rockin', man.
A truth to fire, abusive liar to my youth expired. Used and tired, so begging for a new provider. I fornicated head first into a pool of fire like a scuba diver in war.
What's going on with you, bro?
One of the reasons we out here in Brooklyn is I'm working on my debut album.
Yes, that was new music from my brother Esso featuring Drew Bex. It's called Where Would I Be, man.
Where would I be? Where would I be? Where would I be?
We have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. Now here's the thing. That means you and God don't have any conflicts because
check out episode
498, Green Lights.
Visit WadoRadio.com to stream and download previous episodes and interviews. Cop the Wado Radio mobile app or subscribe to our podcast.
WadoRadio.com.
Yeah, man. DJ Wado, of course. It's the Wado Radio Show. We've been talking a lot about Hurricane Harvey and the impacts that it's been having on Texas and Louisiana. And I have on the line with me, man, a brother who I feel like one day may even end up being the mayor of Houston, man. This dude does so much for the city, outreach and ministry and all of that stuff, man. Trey 9, man, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, man, considering these times, I'm doing good, man. I think we're experiencing a lot of unity in the city and just seeing an outpouring of love here in Houston.
Yeah, it's interesting for you to even use that term unity, man, because you've been so much about unity particularly in the the Houston Christian rap scene, but also with a lot of the mainstream artists and your relationships and things like that, man. So I know that's something you don't take lightly.
No, maybe I would have got a little more. Well, maybe I would have got paid, period, off of Christian hip hop if I would have focused on marketing and promotion rather than unity all these years, huh?
Hilarious, man. Hilarious, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
but I've always been one for unifying the body, and Christian hip hop sure needed it a lot early on. So
absolutely.
That was my thing. But we're seeing it here in the city, man, over this, tragic flood of epic proportions. We're definitely seeing and experiencing love from across the country.
Yeah, man. We were talking about this earlier. You have a nonprofit, All Eyes on Me, and I know you've done so much work in the city through that. You were feeding homeless people. I know you had that thing running, and you got the Hip Hope situation where you're in 4 or 5 really difficult neighborhoods and doing outreaches, basically almost on a daily basis, man. And a lot of those communities are just impacted by this hurricane in a really tough way, man.
Yeah, we're up to 12 neighborhoods now, actually. And,
wow.
And yet, every day of the week, Monday through Friday, and it's not only statewide, but we also have one in Compton, California, and then internationally in Canada, Jamaica, and South Africa we spread. So, but speaking of these times, in Houston, we're in about 8 neighborhoods here in Houston, and these are neighborhoods that are impoverished, a lot of fatherlessness. So picture a mother trying to figure out what she's going to do in a time like this, when she goes home to an apartment that's all her stuff that she had is gone, and she doesn't have a man there to help figure it out. That's what we're dealing with, high fatherlessness communities and impoverished communities.
Man, that's tough, bro. That's tough. I know, man, there's the need is so great. I mean, Sketch was talking about at one point 95% of the roads in the entire city were shut down. And so you're rescuing people, but then it's like, where are you taking them and how can you get there? That type of stuff. And you're talking about people that have literally lost everything. So on top of the social issues you're mentioning, people have real physical needs as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this has impacted suburban neighborhoods, high class, rich neighborhoods, and impoverished neighborhoods. So across the board, there's no discrimination with this flood. It's taken its toll on everybody. And so when it was at its peak here in Houston and the surrounding areas, if you lived in a middle class neighborhood, then you're pretty much going to be confined to helping your neighbors if you weren't flooded in that middle class neighborhood. If you were in a poor neighborhood, you're going to have to come out and help there because people just couldn't get to you. I couldn't get to the hoods that I work in because I was surrounded by water. So I just went down, a mile down the road and went and did rescues there. And so today is probably the only day that I can actually yesterday was the first day that I could go to one of the areas we serve and start taking supplies in because the freeways were closed and all that. So you got to figure a lot of these communities, unless we have a mission house there, 3 of the neighborhoods, 5th Ward, Homestead, and Sunnyside, we have a mission house there with a missionary living in it, so I know what's going on there. But there's some I still got to check on and figure out what they need. And then surrounding areas like Bay City, Brookshire, we're still filling up a truck today with everything from baby goods to, stuff for babies, diapers, wipes, all that, food, water, clothing, hygiene. And then now that, a lot of that stuff, people are going back to their homes and trying to start, put stuff back together. Well, you got to think of the cleaning issue. So we're starting to collect cleaning supplies, stuff to disinfect mold.
Yep.
And all that as well. So we're starting to try to take that in.
Yeah, the cleanup. I don't even. I mean, that's going to be a whole other level of, just trying to sanitize stuff, and You had the threat of disease and mosquitoes, and oh my God.
Yeah.
I've also heard too. I've heard that in some places there may even be challenges with alligators. Just kind of lurking around in places where they normally wouldn't be, just because of the water and them traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. There's pictures of alligators under cars, on doorsteps, and that's because our bayou, we got so many big bayous, and then you got, lakes, and these things rose, and they went into people's neighborhoods. Man. And so, you're dealing with a lot of issues. But that's where people who didn't get flooded, and they have shelter, can move people in to live with them, host rescue teams and things like that, store supplies and stuff at their house and be a drop spot for supplies. Because one of the things that I can say the city did well was, and I'm talking about the citizens of the city, the government, while they were doing their part, mobilizing the National Guard and mobilizing police and all that. Well, citizens were the first to respond.
Sure.
And that's what helped our city to not have so many fatalities. I don't know what the total count is yet. I know they're still working on that, but it wasn't over 20 the last time I had checked. And it's because, man, I went down the block in my neighborhood, and there was a big monster truck, and there was an ATV vehicle. The ATV vehicle had a trailer, and I worked with both of them guys. Jumped in the monster truck at one portion, jumped on the trailer at one portion, and we were able to, get people out that were walking through water with a baby or, trying to get their family. And at that point, there was no National Guard. Sure. There was no police boats. Sure. There was nothing. And so that's what I mean by unity in just the city, bro. I'm going to tell you something that impressed me. When I see these rednecks rolling into town, from these country cities, around, and they call themselves rednecks. They got it on their truck. Rednecks with paycheck.
I'm glad you made that distinction, Trey.
They call them. They're proud to be rednecks. Yeah. Right? They come in with these big old monster trucks. I mean, you need that. That's like been a lifesaver for us down here. While the National Guard and people like that are, they got to get down here. But these neighboring cities and states, it's weird. This convoy of big old trucks and boats and all kind of, even those amphibious, what do they call them? They're boats and they're also vehicles on land. I mean, we've seen everything down here. It's crazy, man. But I mean, I'm very, as you can see, I'm not all sad and down in the dumps just because you're excited about the fact that we're able to help our people. I mean, Katrina was such a disaster that I think people learned from that. Our city even watched that, learned from that, because a lot of the Katrina evacuees came here. And I feel like, I don't care what the news will report in time, because, afterwards everybody finds something wrong.
Yep.
All I can say is that right now, the church is alive and active. The citizens of this community are alive and active, and they're responding to their neighbors' needs. The government, both local and state, and the White House seem to be all cooperating and working as best as I've seen anybody respond to a disaster of this capacity. And, granted, I'm sure there's some things that they're going to find that were done wrong. I'm sure they're going to take some shit. I want to say about him, but at the end of the day, being in the city, seeing what's going on across my city, it's been positive responses.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I know.
Nobody's being left out. They're not neglecting the poor. They're not neglecting the rich. It's been positive, and even across the nation, even with hip hop cats within the Christian hip hop community calling me, how can we help? What can we do? Just all those little things like that, man. That mean a lot to myself, and of course the city. And so I'm very thankful for the body of Christ right now, and just good people.
Well, Trey, I think the reality is, bro, you've helped so many people over the years. self included, in different stuff, whether it was, when you were, co-owner of the South.com, again, a lot of the stuff that you've been doing in Houston, whether it's advice. And so, man, we want to reciprocate that back to you, brother. You've poured into so many, for so long. And as you mentioned, it's not like you made a ton of money, doing this, but we also know it takes resources to continue to do this work that you're doing in terms of getting people supplies and all of that. And I know people are looking for places to give, places they can trust, places that they know, man, if I give $50, this $50 is really going to help somebody, and not just going to somebody's. Exactly, man. So, how can, where can people go to donate and continue to support the work that you're doing in some of Houston's toughest neighborhoods, man?
So we've set up multiple ways that you can donate through Eyes on Me. We are a nonprofit 501c3, been so since 2008, and we are taking text donations. You can text Harvey Help. That's one word. Don't separate it. Just put Harvey Help to 91999. That's 91999. If you text Harvey Help to 91999, you can make your text. You can make a contribution right by the phone. If you want to go online, you can go to Eyes on Me Inc. Not all Eyes on Me Inc. Go to eyesonmeinc.com. Click donate. All the donations that come in right now are going straight to that. You can also go to Eyes on Me Inc. on Facebook. Just look that up, Eyes on Me Inc. Facebook, and you can give to the Facebook page. We're also on Instagram at Eyes on Me Inc. if you just want to kind of follow stuff going on. So those are ways that you can give, and 100% of the proceeds are being stored in a separate allotted account for Harvey relief. What are some of the things we're going to do with this? Well, there's going to be some reconstruction that needs to take place. You got to figure a person that doesn't have flood insurance, and most of them don't in the areas we serve. Sure. They're going to need this sheetrock taken out. They're going to need mold sprayed. They're going to need repairs. Well, we want to help with that where FEMA doesn't kick in, and especially for the early part, like now, we're starting to assemble the demolition crew to get that wet stuff out of there so that mold doesn't form and ruin their house while they wait on FEMA assistance. Because these people got to live in these homes even though they've been flooded.
Yep.
And the last thing you want is them to have to breathe mold and get sick and all that. So we got to get in these homes, and we need funds to be able to buy tools, to buy cleaning supplies, to buy the necessary sheetrock and things like that, because FEMA can't get right on it right away. I mean, there's the application process and all that, and people are living in these houses now.
And when you have so many people affected across not just Houston, but all these different areas, it's just a matter of even FEMA being able to process all of these applications for this as well. So that makes your work even more important.
Absolutely. And then, if someone can't get in their house, well, if shelters get to where they can't stay there anymore, or hotel vouchers aren't, we're going to have to take some people in their homes. That means we're going to have to buy some groceries. That means we're going to have to have some extra gas. We do all the little intricate stuff that'll get missed by the millions that some of the athletes or some of the comedians or the rappers bring in. We'll be the ones dealing with the individual families, personal sponsoring, helping families to just get through this. You also got to think of volunteers. A lot of our volunteers that were affected by the storm, these are people that pour their life out on a regular basis. So we're trying to take care of them as well. Just because these are the people we need to get healthy back again, because they're the ones that are the lifeline for the ministries serving others. So there's a lot to do. All your contributions are 100% tax deductible. Not that many people care about that, but we are a legit organization. We've been around since 2008. Before that, we were doing ministry just without a nonprofit. I was a missionary. So we can be trusted. definitely will release, letting everybody know where their funds went to when this is all over with.
Man, Trey, brother, man, I just want to thank you for the leadership you providing down there, brother, and just your heart to serve people, man, and man, just all the stuff you're doing in terms of spreading the gospel and really just helping people in those communities, man. It's definitely commendable, man, and appreciate you, man.
Well, I'm humbled and honored to be able to serve my Lord this way. I mean, great shall be our reward in heaven. It's not for earthly riches we pursue an eternal inheritance, and that's what I do it for. I'd also like to say, Wado, that I will send you over a flyer along with some follow up text that you can post.
Absolutely, man. We'll throw that up on all the social media. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you want to hit up some of your bigger upper echelon Christian MCs and tell them to respond, man. This is a good time for us to unify in Christian hip hop around a good cause, regardless of who likes who and who don't like who. This is a great opportunity to just show love to people in need, and Eyes on Me is glad to facilitate that, man, any way we can.
Man, appreciate you so much, brother. Real talk.
Thank you, man.
What's up? This is Michaela, aka Lady Mac, managing editor for WadoRadio.com. We launched WadoRadio.com to create an online community where our listeners could go deeper with the music, connect with each other, and grow in their relationship with the Lord. We invite you to bookmark WadoRadio.com. Make it your homepage. Use it as a tool to learn more about your favorite artists. But more importantly, use WadoRadio.com as a tool to grow deeper in your relationship with the Lord.
It's DJ Wado, of course. It's the Wado Radio Show as we continue to discuss Hurricane Harvey and the impacts that it's having on Texas and Louisiana and, really that whole southern region of the United States, man. I have a very important figure in Christian hip hop and really in the Christian music scene, period. He hosts the Rapzilla podcast, used to be with Jam the Hype, started with Hype Radio, but he's also program director of Engine, which is also a station that focuses heavily on Christian hip hop down in Houston. And unfortunately, he was one of the people displaced by this storm, man. But he's here. He's in good spirits, man. And it's always good to catch up with my brother, Chris Chicago, man. What's up, bro?
Wado, it's good to hear your voice, man. You've been such a voice of encouragement and wisdom through all this. And I appreciate you, bro. I really do.
Hey, man, you know it's love, man. And, when things like this strike, when tragedies like this strike, man, if we can't come together, I don't even know why we call ourselves Christians, brother.
Amen. Exactly. And it's so true because I don't know what happens, but it allows us to, and it should allow us to really see past all that stuff. You know what I mean? And I've been hearing from people that I haven't heard from in years, and it's so good it's so good to see and hear from people, and just to see the support from the rest of the country and really all around the world. And when something like this happens, especially when you're out, you don't have electricity and you can't see the news, and your phone dies, and you're kind of secluded. And you're like, you're in this bubble. You don't really feel like the rest of the world even knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And then when you get your phone turned back on, you get a little bit of juice in your phone. And just to see the hundreds of text messages and messaging on Facebook pour through, and then even to get a glimpse of the news, to see what America is doing and how they're loving on and praying for Houston and for Texas and for Louisiana. It's just incredible, man. It really is.
Absolutely, man. I know, as I mentioned, a little earlier, man, your family actually had to be rescued, from where you guys were living. And I know you had recently, relocated from Nashville to Houston, to be a part of what was going on at Engine, man. So just talk a bit about, man, your experience through this storm, man, and how you guys are just navigating it all, bro.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it real. You know what I mean? Like, we felt called to come to Houston because God was doing something at this radio station.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, my name was put in the hat to be a part of this, and we had a good thing going in Nashville. You know, I worked in the music industry for over 12 years in Nashville.
You had a great thing going in Nashville, not just good, bro. You had a great thing going.
Yeah, we had a great thing going. I mean, I lived in a nice house in a nice neighborhood. My kids went to nice schools. Like, I was good. I mean, I told Engine no, like the first 2-3 times they called me, I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, but when God calls you to do something, like I've learned in my walk not to say no to God, and nor would I want to. And so, man, God calls to Houston, and man, even this year, I've been here almost a year and a half. Like, finding community has been tough. Finding a church has been tough. Finding and making friends has been tough. Living in an apartment has been tough. But God is doing incredible work, and He's changing lives through the radio station. And I know that I was called to Houston for a reason. And now, I was just talking about it with my wife this morning. The grocery store that we go to, both of them, gone.
Wow.
The YMCA that we go to, gone.
Wow.
The place I buy my wings, gone.
Wow.
The street that I lived on, gone.
Sheesh.
Everything. The town, the place that I've called home, and we've really put roots down over this last year, it's gone. It was underwater.
The whole town.
And even, dude, it's all flooded, all ruined.
Oh, man.
The burger place, the pizza place, both the grocery stores, like everything around us. I was seeing drone footage this morning, completely underwater, bro. It looked like the Amazon jungle, because all you were seeing is like roofs of these buildings. We lived in an apartment complex, and we lived on the second floor. And it's a nice area of Houston. We could literally walk. Me and my family, we would walk down to Lake Houston, and there's restaurants and a pier, a little dock that you can walk out onto the lake. And we'd often, the day before, I did a Facebook Live walking down to the lake. And I was so surprised that the water had risen to cover up the pathways that are around the outskirts of the lake. I thought that was the worst of it. I thought, oh yeah, this is crazy. The walkways and the pier, the dock, is flooded. I thought that was the worst of it. Now imagine this. We're without electricity. Now I just said we walked down to the lake and walked down to where the flooded walkways were. Bro, when we got rescued, I was on a boat from my second floor apartment. We took that boat, like literally felt like we were on the Amazon River, down my street, past the restaurants we used to eat at, as I looked at the roofs of these restaurants, onto the lake. Dude, the pier that I thought was flooded, and I put a picture of, you can still see the lights on the pier that was flooded. Bro, we took the boat well over that. Like, we literally took the boat from my second floor apartment onto the lake to a bridge where there was a staging area with Army vehicles, which we got into an Army vehicle. And, like, I just couldn't even believe it. I couldn't even imagine what was happening. I was talking to a coworker last night, and, part of our rescue was on the CBS evening news, and there's a picture that's on the internet of me and my family on a boat. And I see this picture, and I'm looking at it, and it just doesn't seem real. It's like, that's not me. It literally feels like we're living in a parallel universe, because even though, and I know I'm going to have to process the rescue, and I'm going to have to process what we went through at some point, but at this point, it's still so new and still so fresh. Even looking at that picture, it doesn't seem like that happened to us. That's the sort of thing that happens in other places. That's the sort of thing that happens to other people. And the fact that we actually lived it just doesn't seem real yet. But yeah, and like the thing is like, I know a lot of people have seen the picture of our rescue, and our rescue was on the news, but there was over 18,000 families in this city that had to get rescued.
Wow.
And that's just a staggering number, bro.
Yeah, it's mind blowing, man, and it to me, this tells you just how big God is, because none of the weather people could even predict that it was going to be this bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they said it was coming, but no one thought this would happen. That's why so many people were unprepared.
Well, I don't want to downplay Katrina. So with what I'm about to say, don't think that, because I mean Katrina was horrible. What happened in New Orleans was absolutely horrific. But just to put it in perspective, 6.5 trillion gallons of water, 6.5 trillion. In Houston, that number is 14.5 trillion. So 6.5 trillion was Katrina, 14.5 trillion is Houston. You hear the words catastrophic. When you hear the words historical flood, it's no joke.
Yeah.
It is just unreal what this city is going through.
Man, bro, how are you guys dealing with this right now? I mean, even where are you staying with your whole, neighborhood and town just finished?
Yeah, well, we're still unable to make it back. My town, my area of Houston is still flooded. There's no way to get to and from. And so I don't know what the damage is. When we got evacuated, the water was continuing to rise, but it had not yet risen to actually get water into the second floor apartments. And so we've been hoping and praying that the water never made it that far.
Sure.
And so obviously we're not going to find that out until we get back into our town. But, our cars were on a second and third floor in the parking garage. And so we don't imagine the floodwaters had gotten that high. We don't imagine the floodwaters to have reached our apartment. But the thing is, there's a good chance our apartment building is probably going to be condemned. There's going to be mold issues. There's going to be structural issues because the entire first floor was compromised. And so, right now we're at a friend's house, a coworker's house. We're going to be able to stay here for the next couple of days. But our long-term future is still in question. I'm still wearing the clothes that I got rescued in.
Wow. And that was
my
3
kids
days
have
ago?
clothes. 3 days ago. My wife and kids have clothes because it's, there's a lot of clothes donations, thank God for that. But I'm a big dude. If you ever met me, I'm 300 plus pounds. I'm 6'2". You're not going to find 5XL tees in the shelter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So finding clothes has been difficult for me. That's why I'm in the same outfit that I got rescued in. So I don't know what the future holds, man, but I do know this. I know that I believe the same thing that I'm telling my wife and my kids is that God's got this, and God's in control, and God is going to take care of us. And I've continued to see that the outpouring of love and support has been incredible. I have people from all over the country offering their houses to me and offering places to stay. That's awesome. I love the fact that those options are available to us. Obviously, I'm a part of a radio station in the city, and the city is going to need that radio station. And so, I don't know what the future holds for us. I'm just taking it moment by moment, day by day, and trusting God.
Amen, brother. Amen. And again, you've done so much for so many over the years. I always say, obviously you have a large following, with your podcast that you've hosted and your syndicated radio show and all of that. But people don't know, all the work you put in managing artists, mentoring artists, radio promotions, all those different things that the general public just doesn't always see. They may not be aware of, man. And as I was telling you before, bro, I really believe the Lord is going to honor your faithfulness to ministry and to serving people in terms of helping your family make it through and really use you as a catalyst to minister to so many in Houston, during this really difficult time.
Man, I believe that. Those words are so encouraging to me. We know what kind of brother you are, man. We know how God has used you, bro. And God is using you right now as a mouthpiece all the way on the East Coast, just to tell this story and to get that message out. And God continues to use you, Wado, man. And I love you for that. And I pray that God just continues to use you, especially in times like this. And just like I said earlier, your words of encouragement and your wisdom and all this has been more than you know. It's been incredible to me. So thank you so much for that, bro.
Man, I appreciate that, man. And I know they set up a You Caring situation for you and your family, man. And I really would like to encourage people to give and to donate to this. The URL is youcaring.com/Jessica Chicago. And then there's a -921292. Again, that's youcaring.com/Jessica Chicago -921292. I have it up on my Twitter. It'll be on my Instagram as well. And you'll know it's the correct one because you'll see the picture of Chris and his family being rescued, and his daughters and all of that, man. But man, we want to support you, my brother. We want to support you, man, and make sure all of your needs are met, man. And one other thing too, if you're listening to this on the podcast or if you're watching this on YouTube, the link for where you can give is in the description, or on the podcast, it's in the show notes. So on YouTube, it'll be in the description. Podcast, it'll be on the show notes.
And I appreciate that so much. I mean, it's I'm sure you're like me, man. Like in times like this, asking for help is the last thing that you want to do.
Absolutely.
And so, obviously we can use financial support, but I want to let people know that there are so many families that are in worse conditions than we are. I mean, I know people that have lost everything they own. And obviously I don't know what our situation is going to end up being. I know that just money that I can be able to go buy maybe an outfit out of these clothes is going to be amazing. But man, even if you could just do anything for any family in Houston, there's so many great organizations. JJ Watts is raising money. There's just so many. There's churches, there's foundations, there's radio stations, there's artists. There's so many needs in Houston. And obviously we hear this and we say this, but it is so true. If anything, just pray for the city, pray for these families, because there's so many in need. But please do something, whether it's pray or help somebody in this city, because we're definitely going to need it moving forward.
Absolutely, man. Chris, you're definitely in our prayers, man. And again, I just urge everyone to, as Chris said, support something. I'd like to encourage you guys to support Chris because, again, I know this brother, I love this brother, and I know what he's meant to so many people and how he's helped people over the years, man. So, Chris, man, we're praying for you, man. You need anything, let us know, man. We'll get the word out, my brother. And definitely,
thank you.
Stay safe out there, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being a mouthpiece, bro. Thank you for letting God use you in this. And we'll be praying for you too, bro, because many people are going to be able to hear about Houston through this and through your show, and we appreciate you, man.
Man, thank you, brother.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the Wado Radio Show.
Thanks for tuning in to another Wado Radio full interview. This was made possible in part by our affiliate, Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Established over a decade ago, Covenant Eyes is the pioneer in internet accountability software, empowering its members to maintain their online integrity. I personally use them on every device that I have: computer, iPhone, iPad, whole 9 yards. Don't go another day without guarding your eyes, your mind, and your heart. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about Covenant Eyes. And if you sign up via our affiliate link at wadoradio.com/resources, we'll give you a month free. Covenant Eyes, trusted by thousands of families, including mine.
Thank you for downloading the Wado Radio Podcast. If you love what you're hearing, leave a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps expose others to the show. Thank you, and God bless.